Hello and a very warm welcome. If you're a parent, you've probably had that moment watching your child and wondering, is this normal or is it maybe something more? Today, we're going to talk about a topic that's on the minds of so many parents and hopefully bring a little bit of clarity and a lot of support along the way.
Maybe you've noticed that your child plays a little differently than the other kids, or that communication just seems like a real struggle sometimes. It is completely natural to have questions, to have concerns. You are absolutely in the right place, and we're going to walk through this together, what might be going on and what you can do to help.
So here's our game plan. We've laid this out to be a really clear step-by-step guide. We'll kick things off with what autism even is. Then we'll get into the common signs, how to get help, and, this part's my favorite, we're going to celebrate the unique strengths of these amazing kids. We'll wrap it all up with some practical tips for you and a really hopeful look at the future.
All right, let's start at the beginning. What exactly is autism? It's a word we hear all the time, but what does it actually mean for a child, for a family? Okay, so at its heart, autism spectrum disorder, or ASD for short, is really all about the brain being wired differently. And I want to stress that word, differently. It's not a flaw, it's not broken, it's just a unique way of processing the world. And that difference can shape how a child communicates, how they learn, and how they interact with everyone and everything around them.
Now, this is a big one. It's so important to clear up a few things right off the bat. Autism is not a disease. It's not something to be cured. And please hear me on this. It is absolutely 100% not caused by your parenting. So any guilt you might be feeling, let it go. It's a neurodevelopmental condition that is totally manageable with the right support. It is not something we need to be afraid of.
So, now that we have a basic idea of what it is, let's get practical. How do you recognize the signs? Knowing what to look for is the first step, and the signs usually fall into a few key categories.
First up, let's talk about communication. You might notice your child tends to avoid eye contact, or maybe they don't whip their head around the second you call their name. Sometimes their speech might come along a little later than their friends, or they might just find it really tough to get the words out to tell you what they need or want.
Then there's the social side of things. A child with autism might seem perfectly happy playing all by themselves, and maybe not super interested in jumping into a big group of kids. Making friends can be tricky for them, and so can figuring out social cues, like reading someone's face to know if they're happy or sad. It's just a different way of connecting with the world.
You might also see what we call repetitive behaviors. This could look like lining up their toy cars in a perfect straight line instead of rooming them around. Or maybe they're just completely fascinated by anything that spins, like a ceiling fan or the wheels on a stroller. And routine? Oh, routine is often king. A small change in the daily schedule can feel like a really big deal to them. And finally, we have sensory sensitivity. This just means their senses can be dialed way up or way down. A loud vacuum cleaner might feel totally overwhelming, so they cover their ears. That little tag on the back of a t-shirt, it might feel unbearable. They could be super picky eaters because the texture of certain foods is just too much. On the flip side, they might spin around or jump up and down to get more sensory feeling.
Okay, so you've been nodding along thinking, yeah, I've seen some of that. The next question is obviously a big one. What do I do now? This part is all about the path forward, getting an answer and finding the right kind of help.
First thing to know, a diagnosis isn't something you can or should try to figure out on your own. This is a job for trained professionals, doctors, therapists, people who really know what they're looking for. They use special tests and spend time carefully observing a child's behavior to make that call. And just remember, the sooner you get an answer, the sooner you can start getting support.
The whole path can feel a little overwhelming, but you can really break it down into 4 clear steps. It all starts with you, just watching your child and trusting your gut. Step 2 is talking to a doctor about what you're seeing. From there, they can guide you toward a professional assessment, and that leads to step 4, starting the therapies and supports that are the perfect fit for your child.
And once you have that diagnosis, there are so many amazing types of support out there. For instance, you've got speech therapy to help with talking, and occupational therapy, which is fantastic for everyday life skills like writing or buttoning a shirt. There's also things like behavior therapy and special education to really tailor learning to them. It's all about building a super team just for your kid.
Okay, let's change gears for a second, because this part is incredibly important. We've talked about the challenges, but we absolutely have to talk about the incredible, unique strengths that so many children with autism have.
See, this journey isn't just about managing difficulties.
It's about finding and celebrating some truly exceptional abilities. Seeing the world through a different lens often comes with these amazing talents and perspectives that are just, well, they're remarkable.
So what do these strengths look like? Well, many have a memory that is just off the charts. They might have a serious talent in things like music, art, computers, or math. They're often so honest and truthful, it's refreshing. And that keen eye for detail, it means they see things in the world that the rest of us just walk right past. These aren't just little quirks, they are genuine superpowers.
So, knowing all this, how can you, as a parent, best support your child every single day? Let's dive into some really practical tips that can make a huge difference at home. If there's one big takeaway here, it's this: be consistent and stay positive. First off, avoid that comparison trap. Every single child is on their own unique journey. Try to keep a predictable daily routine. That consistency can be so comforting for them. And when they do something great, praise them right away. Celebrate every tiny victory. That consistency, both at home and with their therapies, is what builds momentum over time. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important section of all, the future. What does life look like for a child with autism as they grow up? The message I really want you to hear is one of incredible hope. A diagnosis of autism is not the end of the road, it's the start of a new one. With the right team in place, family, therapists, teachers, a happy, successful, and totally fulfilling life is not just possible, it's the goal.
And this isn't just wishful thinking. Let's make it real. Children with autism can and do succeed in regular schools. They make deep, meaningful friendships. They grow up to have careers they are passionate about. And yes, so many live independent, wonderful lives. The potential is truly limitless.
So let's end on this powerful idea. Autism is not a child's weakness. It's not a flaw. It is simply a different way of learning and experiencing this big, beautiful world. When we understand that, we can offer more than just help. We can offer acceptance and encouragement, and the space for every single child to shine in their own unique way. What if we all started seeing it not as a problem to be solved, but as a different kind of brilliance to be celebrated?
Thank you for watching, friends. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel.